Do you know the difference between perfect harmony and ordinary harmony? Do you know what it is? How many of you know the difference between perfect harmony and ordinary harmony? How many of you have ever had a relationship of perfect harmony with anybody? I'll tell you the truth. I suspect that I have had harmonious relationships with about as many people, maybe more people than any person living today, beyond any question of doubt. But I want to tell you that perfect harmony in relationship is about the rarest thing in the world. And I think I could count on the fingers of my two hands all of the people that I now know with whom I have a relationship of perfect harmony. I have a speaking acquaintance, a very nice, polite speaking acquaintance with a lot of people, but that's not perfect harmony. I have a working alliance with a lot of people. That's not harmony, perfect harmony. Perfect harmony consists only when your relationship to the other fellow is such that if he wanted everything you have, you would willingly turn it over to him. Now, it takes a lot of unselfishness to put yourself in that frame of mind. Mr. Carnegie stressed time and time again the importance of this relationship of perfect harmony, because he said if you don't have perfect harmony in your mastermind alliance, it's not a mastermind alliance after all, it's just cooperation or coordination of effort. Without this factor of harmony, the alliance may be nothing more than ordinary cooperation or friendly coordination of effort. The mastermind gives one full access to the spiritual powers of the other members of the alliance. I want you to underscore that part in your notes. The mastermind gives one full access to the spiritual powers of the other members of his alliance. I'm not talking now about just the mental powers or the financial powers, but the spiritual powers. The feeling that you have when you begin to establish permanency in your mastermind relationship is going to be one of the most outstanding and pleasant experiences of your entire life. When you're engaged in the mastermind activity, I want to tell you that you have so much faith, you know that you can do anything that you start out to do. You have no doubts, you have no fears, you have no limitations. And that's a marvelous frame of mind to be in. And the sixth premise, yes, I just want to know if you're following me. It is the fifth. It is a matter of established record that all individual successes based upon any kind of achievement above mediocrity are attained through the mastermind principle and not by individual effort alone. Just imagine how little you could accomplish if you didn't have the cooperation of other people. Suppose that you're in a profession. Suppose you're a dentist or a lawyer or a doctor or an osteopath or anybody in the profession. And suppose that you didn't understand how to convert each one of your clients or patients into a salesman for yourself. Imagine how long would it take to build up a clientele or a following. The outstanding professional men understand how to make a salesman out of every person that they serve. And they do it all by indirection. They don't go about it directly. They do it by going the extra mile, by going out of their way to be of unusual service. But they do make salesmen out of all of their clients. Most successes are the result of personal power, and personal power of sufficient proportions to enable one to rise above mediocrity is not possible without the application of the mastermind principle. Now, during the first term of Franklin D. Roosevelt in the White House, I had the privilege of working with him as a confidential advisor, and it was I who laid out the skeleton of the propaganda plan that took the words business depression out of the headlines of the papers and substituted in their stead business recovery. Those of you who remember what happened on that Black Sunday when we had a meeting down at the White House when the banks were closed the following Monday morning, remember what a stampede there was in this country. People were lined up in front of the banks all over the country to draw out their deposits. They were scared to death. They had lost confidence in their country, in their banks, in themselves, and in everybody else. I suppose they still had some confidence in God, but they didn't show much signs of it. It was a scary time, I'll tell you. And we sat down there and worked out a skeleton of a plan of procedure that created one of the most outstanding applications of the mastermind that this nation has ever seen, and I doubt that any nation on earth has ever had the equal of it. Because it was only a matter of weeks until we had taken all that fear out of people. It was only a matter of days until salesmen on the road who had run out of funds, who couldn't get money, were laughing about it, not in any way scared about it. My own funds were closed up. I had no money, none at all. Yes, I did. I must tell you, this is funny. I got very smart when I found out what was coming, and I ran down to the bank and got a $1,000 bill. Well, I might just as well have had only 10 cents. Nobody could change it. It wasn't worth a nickel. Not a nickel. But I wasn't scared because everybody else was in the same boat that I was in. But something had to be done about it. And Franklin D. Roosevelt was a great leader. He had great imagination. He had great courage. And here's what we did. First of all, we got both houses of Congress working in harmony with the President. The first time in the history of this nation that both houses of Congress, Democrats and Republicans alike, got behind the President and forgot about what their political faiths happened to be. In other words, there were no Democrats, there were no Republicans, they were just Americans down there backing the President and everything that he needed in order to stop that stampede of fear. I have never seen anything to equal it in my life. I never hope to see it again. I wish I could, but I don't hope to. Because there was a great emergency on then and something had to be done about it. Second, the majority of the newspaper publishers of America, everything that we sent out, the newspapers published it. They gave it marvelous space. And then the radio station operators, they gave us marvelous help despite their political beliefs. And the churches, all denominations, that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in this country. Catholics and Protestants, Jews and Gentiles, and all of the rest, pulling together as Americans. I want to tell you, it was a wonderful sight. A wonderful sight. What a wonderful thing it was. They all got behind the President. Every one of them made some sort of a contribution toward reestablishing faith in the people of this country. But during these hectic days, I want to tell you that there wasn't any doubt in the minds of the majority of the people. I don't know, I didn't come in contact with anybody who didn't think that Mr. Roosevelt was the only man, the finest man that could possibly have handled that chaotic condition. And don't get me wrong politically. I'm just talking about a great man who did a great job at a time when it needed to be done. And he did it because he had a mastermind alliance worked out there that was unbeatable.